Yo, Periscope.
Periscope. Periscope. I'm sorry, I'm just getting comfortable on camera.
Do you love Laura or what? She's awesome. Yes,
hey,
we all love
who's that?
Right. We'll have to block that person, whoever that
No.
was. That's their last comment. So this is kind of what it looks like from my perspective. Hey everybody, it's Sean from The Good Dog, and welcome to Q&A Saturday, and blah blah blah. Can we see Cujo? What?
Of course!
What?
Who wants to see him? What a genius.
Give him a kaplow real quick.
Yo.
That's the dude. Cujo's awesome. Yes, he is. Does Laura do all the work while you supervise? Who is this? Identify yourself. No, I'm actually here, like, just so everybody knows.
He's doing the real work.
The real work means writing up Q&A notes, episode number 65. Got all this stuff. You see that? Double loaded the cannon, double fisted. What's the count on that?
That would be 10 total shots.
10 total shots of espresso cappuccinos. So,
Sean, another one? Really? It's okay.
Powered by rocket fuel, right? Five shots, right? 5 shots of espresso each in these babies. This one's empty, and this one just about at the bottom of the barrel. It's a little pricey though when you start getting into these venti caps with 1,000 shots. Yeah. Like, so I might need to do a crowd share kind of thing.
Can you imagine?
Crowd share, so keep Sean in his cappuccinos.
Keep Sean in his Starbucks cappuccino.
Come on, guys. Are you ready to jam? Jump?
Jam.
Ready to rock? Ready to roll? Oh, so first things first.
Yep.
Are we recording?
We are. We are.
Here's the deal. So we started off last week.
Yep.
9. We started off last week. I've got to keep eyes on everybody. Someone's in trouble.
9.
We started off last week with the new format, right? You knocked it out of the park with editing. Everything was killer. You managed to keep us all on track and make sure we didn't get too long in the tooth. Sorry, LaDawn.
Sorry, LaDawn.
And
I think LaDawn and I just became friends on something.
yeah,
Instagram.
she's just waiting. She's waiting for
us
you
to
for
say
a
that.
grammar infraction so she can slam you. Anyway, she also said that I think LaDawn was saying that she was intrigued by our blue eyes, both of us.
Aww.
So I think she's got a softer side too. So when she's
LaDawn
not
has
slamming
so
us,
much soft.
when she's not slamming our grammar, she's like, you guys got
like-
you got nice eyes
nice
for
eyes.
a bunch of dummies.
Yeah.
Anyways, so. I'm teasing. But so we changed up the format, went to an hour, did a speed round at the end, tried to keep the blab to a good value, to a valuable kind of
minimum.
presentation, valuable minimum, and then what we ended up getting was the best views, I think the highest amount of views in the shortest amount of time, maybe ever, which means that the peeps have spoken. They're like, give us the 60-minute thing.
The hour. Yep.
And I think we're both pretty comfy with that.
Hey, we're great with it.
Yeah, I mean, it means less time here, less editing time for you. But the 60-minute thing has a different feel to it.
Less time here and less editing. It makes me sound like a lazy bum.
No, but it's a lot of hard work.
It is.
Yeah.
But
I don't never call you lazy bum.
no, I know. But it's just, the cool thing is, I like...
What's that?
Get yourself. I like the format, I like being able to delve deep in the questions because I'm constantly looking at the clock we just got to stay under 90 minutes.
Yeah.
But now with 5 questions and a little speed round, it feels really solid.
Yeah, and there's a little, what's the word?
Urgency.
Yes, there's a little urgency that puts a little pep. I love it. I thought maybe I was a little manic in the last one. Then I watched it, I was like, no, you're just urgent. You're just you're just on the case.
Getting the questions answered.
Yes, so great stuff. Beyond that, the new intro's coming. We are having it fancy pants style done by our good friend Liz, who's done both of our DVDs. Yeah. So Liz is slamming this amazing Q&A Saturday intro together.
Yeah, it's going to be similar to if you've seen our ECollar teaser. we kind of like begged her to like borrow some of those ideas.
It's got pieces of it,
yeah.
but then it's like souped up and even better.
Yeah,
So
she's awesome.
that's super duper exciting. Beyond that, DVDs selling nice, or the downloads selling nice. We've got the actual DVD hard copy coming out.
I would say 2.5 weeks.
Okay, that's not bad.
Not
So
bad.
maybe the end of January, beginning of Feb.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Man, that's jamming. That's jamming. Guys, when that DVD hits, it's just going to change the world. Okay, so that's that. And then beyond that, I'm on Periscope now. Just started this week. It's been kind of fun. What I've been doing is going out and doing my daily dog walks, usually with my guys. And it's just a very leisurely thing. I just bring up Periscope. It's breaking the bank, by the way. My data plan has totally been destroyed, annihilated. And I've actually boosted it up, and we're already out. But I just go out and I take a cruise with my guys, and I do Q&A. Sometimes I'll get into topics, but oftentimes it's just Q&A. And it's Q&A for like dog trainers, dog owners, business, entrepreneur, personal development, anything that might strike you. It's all game. And it's been a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah.
So the Periscope thing's been really fun because I can be real time with everybody, answer questions, and we can really have a fun, intimate, social kind of interaction situation. Yeah.
You're getting more comfortable on camera, which is always awesome.
Thank you, Jeffrey Gelman. Jeffrey Gelman is always looking out for me, making sure that I'm coming along in my development. And he was sure that I was not on Periscope because I was too afraid to be on Periscope.
300 YouTube videos later of him selfieing himself. He's too afraid to be on camera.
And DVDs and right. So and being on TV
I'm
and
sure this is really going to be better.
Oh God, I'm on Periscope. So, anyways, Jeffrey's judgment or not, I'm actually having
We love you, Jeff.
I'm having
He's
a
not watching.
No, he's not.
He'll never watch.
He's in his RV driving somewhere. But actually, Periscope's been a lot of fun. I'm having a great time with it, and it's a cool way to connect. And so, if any of you guys are looking for me, find me at Good Dog Sean O'Shea, and that's only one D because I was young and dumb when I signed up for Twitter, and I didn't include two Ds because I was trying to save digits
You can start
or
over.
save letters.
Just call it.
Yeah, but then you have to start from scratch.
Right.
So maybe Laura will link it up.
Yeah.
Link it up.
Pop up.
Good Dog Sean O'Shea, and then you can follow me. You'll get notifications, and you can I'll be out strolling, and you can ask me any question you want to ask me. So with that, it's time to jam.
It is time to jam. All right.
Let's get on with the jam.
Let's do it. Okay, wow. This is incredible. We're just rolling right in. Great.
Because that's how we roll.
how we
just
go.
jam. We just jam.
Okay, that means I gotta get to Facebook.
By the way, this cute little sweatshirt, I dig. This was...
It's a short sweatshirt, ladies. It's short little, it's not oh.
It's not like a full lengther.
No.
But that was from...
From New Orleans.
But...
H&M.
H&M.
Yep.
I just think it's a good score. I think
Thank
the
you.
color looks good on you.
H&M's my jam. And there's one in New Orleans that is
That's your super jam.
that the buyers and I are something about
They
it.
get
every
different
time
stuff.
I'm like, oh, this is everything I could ever ask for.
So there you go, guys.
Yep.
Plan a little trip to NOLA and get yourself all suited up.
If you
All
wanna
right,
get suited up.
let's
Okay.
jam in. We got a question from Kevin, number 1. Oh, geez, we almost blew it again. We get so excited, we forget the intro.
Uh-oh.
Ready?
Go.
Hey everybody, it's Sean from the Good Dog. The forgetful Sean from the Good Dog, the carried away Sean from the Good Dog, the jamming through this Sean with the Good Dog.
Yep.
And to my right is the lovely and new sweatshirted Laura Morgan, who's keeping us all on track, but forgetting to tell me about the intro. And this is Q&A episode number, you ready?
66.
That's
Ooh.
an easy one, right? You just get to mirror it.
It is, but it's oh nail color. That's a good way to kind of integrate the nails.
Yeah.
Bright pink.
I mean, big priorities we got
I
here.
just
right?
love nails. Okay.
So
Question number 1.
at least we got the last time the intro I think came in halfway through
Yeah.
the show. We got to keep me honest, okay?
All right.
All right.
Question number 1 comes from Kevin. Kevin
Yes.
says, "Hi, Sean and Laura.
Hey.
I need to be able to pick up one of my dogs when we go to the vet. He always growls when I try to pick him up.
Uh-oh.
Ooh.
Yeah.
How do I get him comfortable with this? Other than the vet, he's never picked up." Thanks
Do you have any friends that are bold? Do you have any friends that are like to live on the edge?
Like the thing "Doctor, it hurts when I do this." And he's like, "Don't do that,"
Don't do that anymore. Okay, so I wrote a few notes like I always do. Try and be prepared for you guys. So first thing, Kevin, start picking him up more often, right? This is like common sense, but start picking him up in context other than the vet's office. If the only time your dog gets picked up is for the vet's office, which is, typically the highest stressed environment for a dog, your dog is going to associate being picked up and the vet's office and stress and anxiety and put it all together, and it's going to suck. And he's going to growl because he's like, you're picking me up to like throw me to the wolves. This is terrible. So what you need to do is you need to practice. Like I do it a bunch of times a day, right? Pick him up, hold him. Here's the thing. Pick him up. If he growls, say no, and just calmly hold him.
Yeah, he's not biting. I mean, assuming that he's not going to the next step.
Right? Hopefully none of that, he didn't mention any of that, but check it out. So, right, so you pick him up. Typically dogs that don't like to be picked up or have gotten into the habit, they're going to growl, make some noise.
Yeah.
Just hold him. Don't, just chill. Just hold him and wait till he calms down. When he calms down, set him down.
Yep.
And then do that over the course, I would say probably 3-4 times a day. If you can remember, get a chance to do that. That will slowly start to break that, that'll slowly start to break that connection or association of like, I get picked up only in the vet's office in the worst place in the world. So that's one part of it. And we just want to desensitize him to it by this going on in a lot of different contexts. Besides, I think you got somebody crawling under the table.
Cujo.
That might be a giant
9.
Malin wall.
Cujo.
That
9.
doesn't fit there.
Place. Sorry.
Dog training going on.
9. Place. Plots.
I'm just going to watch.
9. Plots.
Schützen 3.
He's just needy.
He is needy.
All right.
So you got to watch out for that. Anyways,
I'm
so okay, let me just make sure I got everything happening here. One of the other things that I put down that might be kind of cool to help you out is that like make his food and then let it sit there and then pick him up. Right? So we're trying to make some kind of connections here about what triggers what. Pick him up, hold him, stops growling, release him to go eat. And he's like, oh, wow, when you pick me up, that means that anticipates, or what's the word, predicts. That getting picked up predicts that I'm going to go eat, which could create a really nice positive association. Now, all of those things can work really nicely, and if they don't, then the thing for me, if I'm picking up a dog that I know is just making a snotty, nasty choice, I'd probably correct it too, right? So there's always that option. Try the other options that I offered, but like at some point you have to say like, I'm going to punish that behavior. I don't mean that in that negative, I mean it in the scientific sense, punish it to decrease the frequency of that behavior. And that can be done with a bonker, that can be done with leash and prong, that can be done in a variety of ways, but mainly like, hey, I don't like that behavior and I want it gone. So that's a variety of different options to try and work through. Start with the easy stuff. I really like the idea. I thought it was kind of clever. I really like the idea of picking him up before he eats and connecting that to where it's like, cool, the picking up predicts food. Picking up predicts food. So that'd be something I really try and then kind of move from there. Let us know how it goes.
Yeah.
Cool?
Also.
Oh, yeah, go.
Well, I was just going to say, we have some familiarity with that.
You talking about doodles? So Junior, my 16-year-old guy, hates to be picked up. He always has. Now he's never bitten. He's never done anything like that. But he hasn't bitten me. So, but I pick him up. I pick him up every day to like carry him down the stairs and carry him up and down. And he's cool. He just doesn't like being picked up. He's a chow mix, and he's just like
the old man who's like, get off, I'm fine.
Right. Like he's in the hospital, he's like pulling the IVs out. Leave me alone. I'm all right.
I'm going home.
Yeah, get me out of here. Call me a taxi. But what I do with him is that I pick him up, and if he's growling or snarling, I just hold him. I'm like, the longer you protest and act like a jackass, the longer you get held. And the quicker you let that go, the quicker you get set down. So, all right, let's move on. We got a 60-minute show we got to hit,
all
lady.
Right, thanks. Question number 2, this comes from Wendy. Wendy says, I have a 13-month-old Dalmatian.
Yep.
He's very skittish with people. He doesn't snap or anything. He just appears not to like them. Even more so when they come to our house. He will bark and bark even after they are in and settled. He has selective hearing and doesn't stop when commanded. My husband refused an ECollar. We do have the Springer collar, and I even tried that with company. How do I get him to stop barking when company arrives? Any sight or assistance would be great.
So Wendy, we got a little issue here because hubby is not on board with probably the tool that would give you the most bang for your buck and the most value and
it's
the
kinda
most state
cool.
of mind change.
Kayleen Miller, did you read this?
I did.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, Kayleen was like, hey,
She
check
jumped
that out.
in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a
it's
little
cool.
assistance. Okay, so here's the deal. 95% of the dogs that we get that come in here do exactly what you just said. They growl, they're uncomfortable with people, they're insecure,
bark
they're
at
snarl.
guests,
I mean, literally 95% of the dogs that come in here, the owners bring them in, they sit on this couch, and the dogs growl, snarl, and act like the fool around all of us. So, and they're doing that stuff at home. So that's a very, very typical behavior. The good news is, it being that typical, it also means that we resolve it all the time, and it becomes a pretty simple, easy one to resolve. So, but that said, the way we resolve it is with a comprehensive training approach. We don't just like, people come in and feed the dog food or give them treats. We don't just ignore it. We don't just like address like no bad dog when that happens. We train the dog comprehensively. What you've got is a nervous, anxious, freaked out, fearful Dalmatian. Give the dog the structure and the rules it needs to remove the stress and anxiety levels so that dog can feel comfortable and safe and led in the home. What happens is, without good tools, without good structure, without good rules, without good accountability, that dog feels alone on an island of discomfort. And can you make sure Cujo's not like one? Whoa.
Plots.
He's got a very high-pitched whine. So it leaves that dog in the lurch, and I hope you can get this message because it's what we see all the time, right? So your husband not being down with the e-collar kind of puts you guys in a tough spot, because the e-collar would absolutely be like, if you came in for a consult, we'd be like, yeah, you need a full e-collar program.
You've got it's a young like Dalmatian mix, right? It's 13 months old.
Yep.
Skittish with people. I think the cool thing about, maybe I haven't seen that video that Kayleen put there.
It's just them having fun with e-collars on their necks, showing that they're not like
so
torture devices.
Stuff. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, another part of that is that a lot of times we're using e-collars not just for like, you're bad, let me correct you. It's not that at all. It's like, it's an invisible leash, and you're creating communication with your dog where there isn't the only other way that you have communication is the people that come in. Yell at my dog, I try to grab him by the collar, I have a leash on him.
Lock him away.
Put him in a crate, whatever. But the cool thing about the e-collars, you can talk to them in a low-level way that teaches them, like, no, you do this. No, you're accountable for this. You come over here when I call. Like, make them accountable just like you would friends, relationships, kids, whatever it is. So I think that would be a cool conversation with your husband, if he's open to it, is to think more about what the e-collar can do in terms of like health, as opposed to just you're a bad dog.
Right.
An anxious dog, 13 months old, already being skittish around people. I don't want to
just going to
get
worse. It's just going to get worse.
It's going to get worse. So, that's the stuff that leads to biting. 13-month-old, may not be biting now, and I'm not trying to scare you at all. I'm just saying it's something to really look into, because skittish, anxious is what bites. It's not necessarily just human aggressive, I'm out for blood dogs. They're anxious. They don't know what to do.
Yeah,
Right?
and to be honest, like, if your husband is opposed to the e-collar, you guys are like, I hate to be like harsh, but the reality is that he's setting your dog up to struggle, and all of you guys to struggle, and that's not on your husband. It's just on the information that he has. What I'd suggest is that you guys watch a bunch of e-collar videos, watch a bunch of our videos, and watch dogs coming in that are like out of their minds, behaving just like your dog, and then watch them go home in a calm, peaceful, relaxed, non-stressed out state, and see if that helps your husband maybe feel a little bit different about the tool. Because if you don't have any information, it just sounds terrible. It sounds like you're shocking dogs into like into behaving.
I would refuse an e-collar too.
Yeah, if I didn't know, it would be something that would be very scary. But that's why we put out all these videos, so people can see it and go, oh, wow, that's very different than what I expected.
Yeah.
These collars are working at very low levels. They're teaching dogs obedience and all this stuff to get the state of mind right. They're not just blasting dogs for bad behavior. And then the dog's stress and anxiety levels are lowered. They can make fantastic choices. I'm just telling you, we see your dog all the time, and they go home looking like $1,000,000. How does that happen? Comprehensive training approach. ECollar is your main tool for that. Helps the dog, helps with accountability, helps with you being able to like correct the dog at a distance, helps the dog psychologically know that you've actually got him, that you're there and that you're leading and guiding him. That's the stuff, and without it, I think you're probably going to struggle a bit. And like Laura said, you're probably going to find that the dog's going to get worse. It's rare, I don't know if ever, that the dog gets better. I mean, you're at that stage where like 2 years, 2.5 years, it's just the anxiety stuff and the habits just deepen and get worse and worse and worse.
And so we say all this, and your husband watches everything or whatever, and he's still like, no. Just say. I don't know. I don't know what to say about that.
Yeah.
But I think with the information out there now, at least with tons of balance trainers out there doing their thing, it's really easy to find information that shows what ECollars are really all about, not just like blast.
Yeah.
So there's that. But just in case, I don't know the situation, but if there is the situation where you only will use a prong, you have to do foundation work with the prong collar. Not just like, oh, can I correct him when guests come over?
Yeah.
It's place command. It's walking nicely on leash. You know, we have tons of free videos on that. Our whole first DVD is all prong foundation, and there's people that do great work with prong. So if you can do that, it's not just about correcting when the chips are down. It's about a comprehensive approach.
That's the worst time. Just to build off what Laura's saying, that's the worst time. That's the time when everybody tries to correct, and it's the worst time, least leverage time. So go to our website, www.thegooddog.net, and I want you to either look at our free videos, right, which show you all the leash and prong stuff, or order our very inexpensive foundation DVD, which is all prong collar training, and follow it to the T. It's got a whole PDF board and train, teach you everything, and that way you can actually get your dog into a better state of mind. You won't get the same exact results as you would with the DVD for ECollar stuff. Or ECollar training, but you will make a ton more progress than if you're just going around trying to correct just for bad behavior.
Totally.
So it's kind of like an investment. You got to jump in, and you and your husband have to find your way about like tools and approach. I mean, you got to live with this dog, and here's the thing I'm worried about. I know we got to wrap this up, but here's the thing I'm worried about is that your husband's like apprehensive, and then a year from now you've got a dangerous dog on your hands, and then it's really bad.
And dangerous not meaning like I'm sure the dog's sweet, but
with you guys.
Dogs, anxious dogs can become dangerous.
Anxious dogs bite.
Yeah.
So, all right. Hopefully that helps.
Check in with us and let us know, because we'd love to hear how everything goes down.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, so we've got question number 3. Maybe we'll get this in before Cece gets here.
Cece.
Stacy says, hi, Sean and Laura. I've been enjoying the videos, tips, and training for quite some time. I stumbled across your videos. It's a really long question, so...
Yeah, just jam on through.
Yeah, so she has a Dobie mix who has high anxiety, but she's obedient. When she recently became more nervous when people came over and gets excited when children have their young friends over. Outside, she's a level 10. We utilize an underground fence containment.
And she's not talking about ECollar. She's just talking about like state of mind.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant
it took me a minute to get it.
Oh, I see. Okay. So now, okay. Wow, they did a underground fence around her belly. The collar, the underground fence collar is a lot stronger, so they had to do it on the belly because she wasn't responsive to it around her neck.
Serious stuff.
She has since become respectful of her boundaries. She's super reactive on walks, basically level 10 at all times, like highest level. From the minute we thought she could possibly be going anywhere, she shakes, yawns, licks her lips, pacing, and then it's a disaster. She had her on a small herm. Springer moved her to a medium. Now she needs ECollar training. She would like to know, how do we incorporate the new ECollar with her fence collar? Does she wear the ECollar throughout the day or just for formal training? Should the ECollar be used for all training? I've heard you guys mention utilizing a balanced trainer. How would I find someone in my area that can teach the same techniques?
Okay.
That's a great question.
Yeah, it's a really great question.
That'd be a good question of the week.
Yep. If I can answer it good.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're right on the money. I'd suggest a comprehensive ECollar program to get this dog into a better space. you're already saying that that's what you want to do, so you're already in the ballpark, right? The challenge, not the challenge, but the little bit of the wrinkle in that is that your dog has been conditioned to invisible fence, right? So what I would do is I would start doing e-collar training, and I would do it either off-site, meaning not in your backyard or in your front yard, anywhere you've got the invisible fence that your dog might be worried about. Yeah. I would do it in a neutral spot, maybe at the park, something like that. Or you could also do it inside your house, but don't do it in the backyard. Don't do it anywhere that's going to cause your dog to be worried about boundaries or anything like that. You want to try and get your dog in a different mode where they're learning low-level e-collar training as a separate entity rather than invisible fence, right? So that's the first thing. So I would leave the collar on initially during training sessions. Your big question was like, is it always on, right? So typically, your situation is just slightly different. So the way that I'd modify it would be that I would pick very specific training like times, a couple times a day, and I would go wherever you're going to go, inside the house or outside at a park, and I would do e-collar training, low-level e-collar training, start real low stuff to make sure it's comfortable so the dog's not feeling weird about like, holy crap, this is the same kind of stuff as invisible fence. Get your dog really rocking and rolling with like recall, sit, down, and place, and then start bringing that stuff more into your world, right? So once you've got that, then you want to start bringing it more into your world and maybe into your backyard. I would be leaving the e-collar on your dog. Once you get to that point, I would be leaving the e-collar on your dog at any time that you're supervising, right? So initially what I'm suggesting, which is a little bit different than usual, initially what I'm suggesting is only when you're working with the dog, e-collars on, which a couple times a day. Get the dog into a good zone, and then we're going to shift out to where the dog's actually wearing the e-collar all the time. The trick is when you're doing this very early stage e-collar training, I don't want you giving commands to your dog when the e-collar's not on. I don't want you creating a collar-wise dog, okay? So let's just kind of like pick training sessions during the day, and then other than that, like, don't give commands that you can't enforce. Keep a long line on your dog, whatever you have to do, and bring them back in, blah, 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 blah. So, what's the heater? So, let's see, what else have I got for you? I got tons of notes, because you got kind of a more complex question. So, leave the collar on initially during training, but don't give commands when collar is off. As dog gets more trained, leave on all day. Of course, that means move the collar back and forth every 3 to 4 hours if it is on all day, so he doesn't get pressure sores. And then your question was, do you use the e-collar for a lot of different behaviors? And the answer is yes. So I would do sit, down, place, recall, heel. You said thresholds. Absolutely. Don't just use it for recall. Use it as a comprehensive tool to communicate with your dog all these different behaviors that you like. And the truth is, the more behaviors you use it in, the more context you use it in, the more you'll create a differentiation between like invisible fence and low-level e-collar training. And it'll start to become much more clear that like all these commands are very different than like what's going on with the invisible fence or anything like that. You'll start to create two kind of distinct worlds. So, and then our new DVD, not to be super plug-o-matic, but our new DVD, like literally, I'm serious, our new DVD, if I was in your situation trying to learn this stuff, it goes step by step through all the different behaviors, all the different, what are you laughing about, by the way?
No, I'm laughing because honestly, guys, like the DVD, when we made it, we're like, both DVDs, we're like, this is an awesome way to do our full program on the cheap for everyone. But
So you weren't laughing at me?
No, but
Okay.
it sounds
Very
like
sensitive.
we're selling.
Yeah, because we
Sounds
are
like
selling, right?
We are, which is fine, but it's just like, we're like, if you buy our new DVD, but it really is like, that's a comprehensive program.
If I had a better program to suggest, I would. If there was,
She also asked about balance changes, and I know you're getting there.
and I'm going to get there, lady, don't you worry. All I wanted to say is that if you want to do it on your own, our e-collar DVD is going to take you step by step through all the different behaviors and really walk you through and help you stay on top of like how to work the program. It's got a 100-page PDF that Laura wrote up, which basically creates your own board and train. So it's pretty comprehensive and fabulous.
Yeah.
Now, if you're not one of those that feels good about doing it on your own, if you feel like you need help, I'm not sure, even with like having like a DVD or a download to kind of support you, then look for a balanced trainer that's going to be able to help you out in that capacity. And was she asking like, how do I find one?
Yeah, I mean, we have links. We have trainer links on our site. If you look, thegooddog.net, we have trainer links up there. I'm not sure where she is. You can also go to the IECP website. There's balanced trainers there. And if you still can't find anyone, you can always email us, thegooddog.la@gmail.com.
Yeah. And we'll do our best to try and help you find your way. But the whole like long and short of it is ECollar training, start to finish, find your best way to get there.
Yep.
Whether it's our DVDs or even our free videos on our website, www.thegooddog.net. And to order the DVD, it's on www.thegooddogway.com, correctly? Correct me, or is that correct? And then if all that feels overwhelming, find somebody to help you out, okay? So let's jam through that, because that was a long question. We're going to find ourselves in trouble if we don't hustle.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Okay,
Margita.
So question number 4 comes from Margita. I looked it over. It's a long question. So basically what happened, she has a Leonberger puppy, which I don't know what it is.
Who attacked their schnauzer.
Yes. So this young almost 6-month-old Leonberger puppy, I don't know what that is. I'll have to look that up.
Big dog.
Okay.
Leon.
He's great, no problems. He was like, intimidated when he sees dogs like at the dog park or stuff like that. Just kind of easy. But then she was shocked when he suddenly attacked their 12-year-old schnauzer in the yard, probably over a bone he may have been hiding or something. The housemate had to pull him off the other dog, which wasn't easy. He was just in a rage and wouldn't let go. She got some pretty bad injuries on her face. Now they're totally fine. They're sleeping next to each other, but she has anxiety, obviously, because she doesn't know if she can trust the dog.
Yep.
He's going to eventually weigh 160 pounds.
The owner has anxiety, or the other dog?
Yeah, the owner has anxiety about that.
Yeah.
So will I be able to trust my dog again? He did his puppy classes, and he's doing all this stuff. But she's just like, that's scary, like how to trust again,
Yeah. And first off, so I think that dog's doing a bunch of different stuff, a bunch of different
classes.
Also, which is great.
Training,
which is great. But here's the thing. Always bear in mind that like obedience training and trick training or any of the kind of like fancy stuff is very different than behavior modification. They're two different worlds. So you could have this dog fantastically, immaculately trained in all these different fields and still have him be a resource guarder and snarly and dog aggressive and things like that. So they're two different worlds, right? So it's cool that you're doing all this work and getting him into a good space, but you have to remember that stuff, that like, especially because he's young, good chance it'll get worse.
Yeah.
Good chance that was like, yes, that's kind of an unusual situation for you guys, but chances are it'll probably get worse. So let's see what I've got for you, Margita. The good news is we get dogs in like this all the time, right? Which means we also turn dogs out that are not doing this all the time after they've been here. So there was kind of a little bit of a vibe of like, I don't want to say hopelessness, but it was a little bit of like, oh man, have I, I have these big expectations for this dog and to do all this stuff, service dog, and he's doing this. Am I toast? Am I not going to be able to do this? Right. So the good news is you probably haven't done any like ECollar training or anything like that, especially if you're doing a lot of these other kind of training methodologies or modalities. They probably don't encourage it, and it's probably something different. So, like I said, we get this all the time. I would absolutely do ECollar training. I sound like a broken record on this, but I mean, that's like, the whole thing is, that's what we do here.
Gigantic dog, 160 pounds. You need like control of that dog, whether you had this fight or not.
Yep.
So the reality is you had a fight. Okay. So you have a puppy who was with an older dog. The puppy probably buried a bone or whatever you say.
Big puppy.
A giant puppy, and he got crazy and whatever and caused damage. That's bad, right? But that doesn't make him a dog aggressive dog by any stretch. It just means then maybe he needs more information and more
About
leadership.
and consequences for
Yeah.
behavior. Now
Yeah.
here's the thing.
He may just be Lucy.
The reason Lucy Caboose, the reason why
You gotta find this stuff.
the reason why I recommend ECollar training so much for this stuff is because it's the best tool to be able, big
Yep.
guy. It's the best kind of training to be able to address this situation,
Yep.
right? So for our purposes, when we get a dog in like this, which we get all the time, we muzzle condition them. And then we e-collar train them, we muzzle condition them, and then we bring them in and we start setting up those situations where we might have the dog go after another dog, right? We bring out resources, toys, high excitement, whatever it might be. I actually posted a video today of working with the Frenchies who have that kind of issue. The trick is when you got e-collar stuff on board, the dog can be 50 yards away, and you can set up the situation, or you can be 10 feet away, whatever it is that you feel comfortable with. Let that situation go down, but the dog's muzzled, so he can't hurt the other dog.
Yeah.
And then when that Leonberger, who's young and a little pushy and maybe like feeling a little entitled and size differential and like, yeah, I can do whatever the hell I want, starts to make a move towards your other dog, then you dial up and you press and you hold, and your Leonberger goes, what? And it'll probably sound bad, and your Leonberger will quickly say that concept, that idea, that decision, that choice to be a resource guarding jackass and to be nasty and hurt the other dog because this is something I want is a very poor choice, and it creates consequences and discomfort, and let me think in the future about making a better choice. So that's really the long and short of why, like, okay, let me clarify. It's not the long and short of why we do e-collar training. It's a big component because it gives us the ability to address. But beyond that, like Laura was kind of already implying, is that it gives you the ability to get this dog, this giant dog, into a great space mentally to where he's got great recall, sit down, place. He's a gentleman. He's got all these manners. He's super respectful. He's in a great spot, which just that alone might get rid of all the silliness. We see it all the time where we go after like the general comprehensive stuff, and we haven't even addressed, like, we get so many dogs that are like resource guarders in here with dogs and people, and then we just like lay down the law and the dog's like, I don't do that anymore because like it doesn't make sense, right? So that would be my suggestion. Laura, you want to add anything into the old Leonberger?
It's good for you to just know that that doesn't make a dog. That doesn't mean that the dog's like, oh, he'll never be, or he's like, from, puppies and dogs can make mistakes and it can come from looseness.
It often comes from not knowing better, though.
Yeah, yes, but I also see in this thing a lot of, classes and things that like, I know this is a special dog to you. I think that kind of what I got was like, he's your special guy, and I totally get that. Like, I've got Cujo. I've got like, oh, he's got training. He's got all this like, this potential and all this stuff. So you can get a little bit like, kind of more focused on that stuff than you are just like treating him like a dog.
Yeah.
So let's also, by doing the e-collar training, making him accountable, it's just going to balance out your whole relationship. And then you can do, I think Cece's here. We're done, right? Then you can do the training on top of that, so it's all good.
Right. And if you need more help, get a balanced trainer on board to help you out. Contact us if you need it. Go to our website. Go to the ISCP. But it's like, honestly, if that was my dog, if this was my Leonberger and I had all these big aspirations for him, I'd e-collar train him and I'd get him over this hump and I'd say, don't ever do that crap again. And you know what? Within a week, that Leonberger would not do that. So you are not stuck with this. You are not stuck with this dog. You are not stuck with this behavior. But that's all predicated on you doing the work with e-collar stuff and things like that to create new rules, new structure, new accountability, and consequences for that crappy behavior. So we're going to let you go with that. And CC is here.
CC's here.
Which means it's go time and
guys.
show time.
All
right?
Second.
So guys, sad news.
Very sad news.
Sad news.
Well, not like everyone's still alive, but CC didn't.
CC didn't make it.
No, that sounds terrible. He didn't make it to our house. He didn't deliver our food.
I'm not intending to insinuate that Cece died or expired. Cece didn't make it to the place. We had another lovely gentleman, but who's not quite as effervescent as Cece is. So no Cece this episode, but maybe next time, right? Good news is some fantastic Indian food went down.
Just serious.
And literally went down. And is gone. Spicy plus.
Bang.
In the bank.
All right.
In the bank.
We gotta jump.
Okay.
Jump. So we have question number 5. This is from Instagram. Josh Vernoy. Josh says,
Hey, Josh.
Hey guys, love your teaching. It helped me so much training my Cane Corso and Dogo Argentina. We've been doing foundation state of mind work that I learned watching TGD since I got them as puppies over a year ago, so no complaints with them. They're on point so much I've started training part-time, and I'm working to make it full-time soon.
Look at you.
Yes,
Nice
that's
work.
awesome.
Nice work, Josh.
So here's my question. I'm working with a dog right now, a very anxious, soft mixed breed terrier, about 65 pounds. His leash and prong work is great. Place is really strong. Threshold's a gentleman. I'm trying to transition some ECollar heel and recall, and he works very low levels, mini educator. At 2 he feels it, but is willing to ignore 3 to 4 starts to make him shut down. I'm having trouble threading that needle. If so soft he doesn't improve, and too hard he shuts down. Good question.
Yeah, it is a good question. Okay, so we see a lot of this stuff, a lot of times. So you see, we're working with a shepherd right now who works at like between 1 and 3. Super sensitive, but also has been fairly trained and blows off commands, right? So he's like, I panic here, but underneath there, I don't really listen. So what we've had to do is work him through some slightly higher levels where he gets a little panicky, a little weird, long line on, work him through it, teach him very clearly. You've got all sorts of monkey business you can do, but the reality is you're going to end up in place. You're going to end up recalling to me. You're going to end up laying down. I don't care what you do. He like tap danced on our table. Didn't matter. Like, just keep your cool and start to use like, it's a delicate balance, and it takes time getting used to the e-collar about what you can and can't do. A lot of horror stories out there about like damaging dogs and undermining their state of mind and their stability. But my feeling is that if you've been really fair in training the dog what the collar means and what the behaviors are, there comes a point where you're actually being unfair if you don't hold the dog accountable. And that said, some dogs are going to be like more jumpy and more freaked out about that. Now that doesn't mean like roll up all the way on the dial and say kapow, but it does mean that you might need to push the envelope a little bit further on those levels. The dog may give you more protest, more silliness.
It
might look
like
panicky,
shut down.
right?
Yeah.
Might look all of these things that look like negative behaviors, but if you stick with it, long line on so you can make sure you get what you want and always complete the task that you're looking for, what'll happen is the dog will start to learn that like anything other than what I'm being asked to do is uncomfortable. Every time I finish this exercise, I'm like, this shepherd like ran everywhere, under the table, on top of the table, behind Brittany, over here, blah, blah, blah. And all I did was like, give him the recall command, pressure's coming up, I'm just making it uncomfortable. I'm like, buddy, you know this inside and out. You can make all these choices of like, I don't want to do this, I'm not down to do this, I'd rather be here, whatever. Doesn't matter. You still have to come to me. And that's kind of the methodology. So I kind of covered everything that I have written down, notes for you wise. I basically said once you've fairly taught the behaviors, it's time to create accountability. And without accountability, the dog stays stuck and you will never see fantastic behavior. Walk that line between like pushing boundaries and creating accountability, and hopefully not like blowing the dog's mind. But there is a point where it might look like the dog is like, but a lot of dogs will give you panic, protesty, silly behavior right before they give you buy-in. Right before they change their whole course of action and attitude, when they realize all of that stuff, Cujo, all of that stuff doesn't work. So that's part of the art form of dog training, and it's an easy one for me to talk about, but it's a hard one. Who is that? No. it's a hard one. Excuse me. It's a hard one for me to like really like articulate without, you know, sight on the scene.
Because the reality is, Josh, if you're, say 2 is the level that the dog feels and understands and is cool with, and you're asking him to do something that he, you know, knows, you obviously taught it fairly, and 2 is the correction, if that's the correction level, that's really low correction level, and then he's just like, eh, and then 3 and 4, he's like, but I want to do other things, but he knows the command. You ask the command, hopefully if you're doing it the way that we teach, and if you have used all that stuff, then you know that like you're asking, after you've taught it fairly for a while, you're asking the command with no stim.
Yeah.
So he has the option with 0 stim to come to you or do place or do whatever you're asking him, but he's choosing not to.
Yeah.
And so then you're correcting maybe too low and he's still choosing not to. So it's good information just to kind of check out, because sometimes dogs being like, I still don't want to do this, can look panicky, you know, and 3 to 4 on an ECollar is so low, you know, you can barely feel it. But it's good. It's a good question for you to see the writing the line. But I think if you've taught it fairly enough, and you're giving all the good stuff, and you're giving all the chance without any stim, you got to kind of go, okay, well, we got to hold you accountable, or you're going to stay stuck.
Yep,
You know?
absolutely. And this is really part of the process of like doing a lot of it, having a ton of
Working with
experience.
a lot of dogs. Yeah.
So you start to. There's a lot of horror stories out there. There's a lot of people like propagating things about ruining dogs and high stim. Like, you know, I was just talking with Brittany about this today, and that like the way to destroy dogs is to give them information that doesn't make sense, and to kind of arbitrarily or randomly like just
like humans.
just create
Same
corrections. Right. It's just like
Yeah.
living in like an alcoholic family or something
There's
like
no,
that.
like,
There's
rhyme
no
or reason.
continuity,
Yep.
and that's what creates freaked out, stressed out, anxious, or in the dog world, learned helplessness. If the dog is getting random corrections and has no idea what it's coming from, even high-level corrections, right? But if you do it with some kind of real continuity, and you've been really fair, and the dog understands what's going on, it's a very different story. Even with higher level pressure, the dog will figure it out and make better decisions, and you're actually being fair about it. Don't add too many distractions too quickly. Don't go too far of distances too quickly. Build it small, but you got to build it, and you got to start asking for more compliance.
Yep.
Hope that helps.
Cool. Thanks. Okay, guys. So we have speed round.
Speed round.
So
Get
I'm
the
going
seatbelt
to
on
set the timer for 1 minute each on these suckers.
for all your answers.
For all your answers. We ready? Question number 6.
I want my minutes to roll over.
You can't. I'm not T-Mobile. Okay. Susan says, I have a Hermspringer prong collar, but I think it's too large in terms of the size of Lynx. She's a Corgi. I don't see a size on the collar. What size would you suggest for this breed? And go.
I would suggest a Hermspringer small, which
Really?
if you
Corgi?
Corgi is pretty small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Depends on the size of the Corgi. I personally like mediums, but go ahead.
Whose question is it anyways? So the small is a 2.25 Hermspringer, right?
Yeah.
So you can order that anywhere as a small or a 2.25, or sometimes they'll slash it and say, you know, it's the same thing. That's where I would go, and just see what you get, and custom fit it. Take the links out and make sure it's fitting nice and snug high up on the neck of that little Corgi, and that's what I'd try. And if you've got a big chunky fat Corgi that's like bigger than your average bear,
Right.
then maybe a medium is going to be better, but you're not going to get many links on a
That's
Corgi.
true. If
So
you've got a bigger Corgi, I'm thinking like, I think there's
like a
some
Great
bigger
Dane
Corgis.
/ Corgi. That's what I'd go with. I think I wouldn't listen to her. I think she's trying to lead you astray. So let's go with the 2.25.
But if he's strong, do a medium. Okay.
All right.
All right. So question
In
number
the
7,
bag.
speed round. Diane says, can you help with advanced tips for dogs with continued separation anxiety? Background info is we know basic tips, but our dog still won't relax, drink, eat while we're away. He pukes, has diarrhea. Leaving and entering our home are non-events. We ignore him till he's calm. At the same time, we've had a rescue dog for 4 years, and we need your amazing tips so he does better when we're gone. Thank you in advance.
So first of all, I'm just going to jump in.
Yeah.
First of all, thanks so much for the nice comments about our amazing tips. It's always a challenging one with separation anxiety, and I'm actually like folding this into the Quick Draw McGraw
Yep.
section here. So here's the thing, Diane. What I would do is comprehensive training, ECollar training. And that might sound like a lot, might sound like too much, you might not be down for it, but you ask my opinion, you want advanced techniques. ECollar training is how you do it, either our free videos or our DVD or download. DVD comes out in a month or whatever it is, 3 weeks. But I would go that route because that's going to help you get a much better comprehensive state of mind, right? So we got separation anxiety. Why do I need to do e-collar training? Because your dog is a nervous, insecure wreck. 9, nervous, insecure wreck, and
Cujo.
and
Sorry, go ahead.
and doing this.
Go ahead.
Whoa!
You have 10 seconds.
Wow!
Go ahead.
And doing this comprehensive approach is actually what's going to create less stress, less anxiety, and put your dog into a better gear. So that's www.thegooddog.net. I would check that out, and then crate training. Right? I'm going to blow through this. Crate training. He's got to be crate trained.
Yep.
Personal access to your space. Stop that. And then affection. Bring it way down to almost 0. Those are like the main salient points that are always going on with
And
separation
Jeff Gelman
anxiety.
has a great video. It's like 13 steps about separation anxiety. Really good video. So
Right.
check that out.
Right. God, I wish I could review that again.
Okay.
That's a hard one to
I
let
know,
go.
I'm sorry.
So-
you can ask it again next week if that wasn't enough.
Or just review it because I did cover everything.
All right.
Yep.
Question number 8. Oh shoot, this is from
Shang.
Shang. Shang says, I'm currently training my dog heel with e-collar and slip lead. It's only been a few days, and he does have a solid e-collar recall. I can recall him off of chasing squirrels and deer.
Wow.
My question is, when I say the word heel without stim, he pulls his head back to fall into position. I'm using continuous anywhere between 6 to 13. Thank you for all that you do. I've been following you for years and never missed an episode,
What?
which always motivates me to continue use all the tools that I love and better myself and my doggies.
Oh, Shang, that's
Crazy.
so awesome.
Shang,
I don't even think we've ever heard
Never
from
heard
Shang
from
before.
Shang.
So we've been
So
getting a lot of
cool.
these lately from
Yeah.
people that we haven't heard from showing up, coming out of the woodwork. Shang, you rock. That's so awesome.
Shang, I love
So
you.
if I understand you correctly, you're saying that you're doing e-collar heel.
Oh, she's friends with Jeremy Majors.
you're saying that you're doing e-collar heel and that you're actually not using the button to reinforce. You're saying heel verbally and your dog is coming back into place. So if I understand it right, your question is that okay that I use the verbal to get my dog back into e-collar heel position? The fact of the matter is, if you do that a bunch, what you're going to find is that it's going to diminish the value and the strength and reliability of your heel position. So for us, we don't give verbal warnings, right? The verbal warning is that we trained you how to do it. We don't press the button when we say heel initially. We start walking, and if the dog breaks the command, it's like the dog being in a sit or a down or place. Too bad, the dog gets it. You don't get a free pass on like, oh, you broke place, now you got to go back. It's no, correction. I want to make sure that the dog does a better job in the future. So a lot of people want to get off the button and they want to just use verbal stuff, but what you'll find is it's going to diminish and diminish and diminish to where you're going to have to remind, and you'll have more trouble than you will if you correct with the heel. So he moves out in front of you, heel, and with the tap on the button should give you better stuff, because what I don't want you to do is I don't want you to have to keep reminding him.
Yep.
Find levels that he cares about and keeps in position.
Okay.
I kind of blew over that one a
It's
little
all
bit.
right. It's all right.
Am I penalized?
No, you're fine. Question number 9 comes from Kathy.
Yep.
Kathy says, hello, Sean and Laura. I have a question around my anxiety. My dog is
I have a question around my anxiety too.
I do too. My dog is 3 years old. We rescued her about 1.5 years ago. She gets upset when we start to leave. Putting on shoes or coats makes her shake, cry, and pace the living room. She has started scratching the couch cushions, and I'm afraid she's going to damage them. I feel bad when I leave for work and want her to know we're returning, and I think that's why she has doggy panic attacks when we leave. Any advice is appreciated.
Okay,
Okay.
so more separation anxiety, right? This is always a big one. First thing that I always look at is how much access does the dog have to your space? How much freedom does the dog have in the house? How much affection is going down? All of those things tremendously impact separation anxiety. And if you've got a dog that you say you're feeling worried and sad about when he leaves, that the story you're telling yourself is that maybe he doesn't know we're coming back, that's probably feeding in considerably to how you're interacting with the dog. So I would lose that story right away. I would make sure that I crate train that dog so the dog doesn't have the run of the house to be stressed, nervous. I think the dog is doing a little damage to stuff. Crate will make the dog more chilled out, more relaxed. Don't feel bad about the dog. That's the worst thing you can do is feel bad. It's going to make the dog feel bad and misbehave or be more anxious.
Yep.
Keep all your exits and entrances low key. Ignore the dog. Just like move in and move out. Any babying, any consoling, all that, you're going to make it all worse. You're going to make it all worse. So, and then of course, comprehensive training is the way to go. Right? Every separation anxiety, I'm just going to finish this. It's my show. Every separation anxiety, like every separation anxiety case that comes in does not just get like, don't give them affection. Don't let them have access. Don't let them, follow us around. They get a comprehensive state of mind training approach to where the dog chills out, relaxes, learns impulse control, learns to monitor and manage himself without being stressed and anxious about everything that goes on in the world. Duration work helps that. I would go to www.thegooddog.net, watch our free videos or the DVDs, and pick out what's going to help you train your dog and get him into a better space.
Yep.
And do not underestimate the power and the value of a comprehensive training approach to fix this stuff up here.
Yeah. All right.
I'm a little behind today.
You are,
Yeah.
okay.
Last time I was like, bam.
Question number 10 comes
These are
from
hard ones.
Allie the GSD. Allie says, how should I go about treadmill training a dog that's deathly afraid
need the
of
Rocky
treadmills?
music.
She won't accept food on the treadmill or anywhere near it. FYI, she screams when she's on it and fights to get off. By the way, I did the same thing when we were bather, but I used 2 leashes to hold her still, and I just washed her down. She released her tantrums and got nowhere, and she stopped.
Rah!
Oh, she realized, I'm sorry, her tantrums got her nowhere, and she
And
stopped.
stopped.
Okay.
Okay. So sounds like you got a tantrumy dog.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Action.
So
This is
dogs that
serious.
don't like to do stuff that they don't like to do will tend to throw tantrums and panic attacks and do all sorts of freaky stuff and all that. Best thing to do is help them get through it, is just kind of help them get through it, right? So you already have done that one thing with the shower or the bath or the grooming. So it's the same concept. I've got multiple videos on my YouTube channel. So go to The Good Dog Training and search treadmill. There's one that's a really tough case. There's one, I can't remember the dog's name. It was Lola or whatever it is.
Lola, yeah.
But it's a really tough pitty that really panicked and didn't want to be on there. I
Yeah.
use leash and prong, no treats, no anything. And I show you how I work through that. And it's messy and it's ugly. And eventually the dog is great on the treadmill. So dog throws all the tantrums and says, protest, I don't want to be on here. But we just stay the course, calm, quiet. You'll see my technique of straddling the dog, giving coaching and like leash pressure guidance, and then eventually the dog ends up in a good space where they can tolerate the treadmill. But it only happens just in the same way that you did with the bath, which is continuously desensitizing the dog to where it's not a big deal. Initially, it's going to be panicky, and that's just the way it goes. And it's just like people that are afraid to fly. You know, you're terrified to fly and you're freaked out, and then you fly 100,000 times and you're like, it's not such a big deal anymore.
Totally.
So that's my advice for you, Ollie. This was a tough speed round. Whew. I do need the Rocky music. Maybe we can fly that in. But I tried to do like some slightly more complex questions.
Yeah.
It's a hard one. It's hard to squeeze that in.
so
You
hard.
didn't get a question,
Or
a
a
secret
secret
surprise
surprise
question.
question.
That's terrible. I feel like I've let you down.
No,
Yeah.
you didn't let anyone down.
I feel like I've let you down.
All right, guys. I don't know the time, so we got to bail.
We got to bail, guys.
Thank you so much for
Yeah.
this awesome hour that we get to spend with you all the time. We just love it.
Things are looking good. We've got so much fun stuff coming up this year, so stay tuned. The show's only going to get better and better and better. I can't wait for that intro to go live. It's going to be rocking and roll. And thanks so much for all the views last week. It's like literally our best viewing
Awesome.
per days that we've had.
And I gotta update all the. I know there's people who are mad at me. Podcasts. I gotta do that. I'm sorry.
We got podcasts, but you're it's like, notes. But you've been doing timestamps.
Yes, timestamps.
Everybody loves the timestamps.
Everyone
You're such a
loves
sweet, nice, giving young lady.
Sorry, I'm so behind with stuff.
No, because we're
all
kicking
working
ass and
things out.
we're trying to make some great stuff happen.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, we're going to split.
We
We
love
want
you.
this to be 1 hour tight. That's our commitment. 1 hour tight, and we's out.
All right.
So we love you guys. We'll talk to you soon. See you next week. Also, just let me close with this one thing.
Go for
Sorry.
it. Go.
Next week, if you want, we'll take questions on dog stuff. We'll take questions on personal development stuff. We'll take questions on business.
Business, yeah.
Yeah, business. If you're a trainer, you have any questions for us, hit us up. We're happy to go diverse with this and go a little wider than just dog stuff.
Yeah.
We train a lot of folks in a lot of that stuff. and we have some pretty good information that would make it fun for us and I think very valuable for you guys.
Very.
So with that, we's out.
We love you.
See you guys. Bye.